There's something quite interesting in life. And if we find what that something that you are interested, that can solve many problems. Because if you are interested, it generally tells you that life energy flows smoothly and you feel vibrant. Of course, if you are pointing in the wrong direction with this life energy, I call WakuWaku sensation, in the society, it doesn't work. So, if it doesn't work, one way to deal with it is not spend so much time in the society. It's a natural thing like animals, that if there's danger, you don't go close to the danger. And the judgment to whether you go to certain direction or location or not is how you feel about the location or the event that you get into. In a way, you may feel like you can get that aliveness when you accomplish something. And that's a tricky thing, because if you don't, what's the impact of it? Also, how much time and energy to focus on. So in general, that's the way to go, to look for something that interests you, that you can spend so much time, hours per hour, and excited. I mentioned about Thomas Alva Edison. His idea was invention, and he said 99% perspiration and 1% inspiration. He lived life just doing it, as far as I can tell. And I'm sure he was happy, otherwise he wouldn't have continued. Although he may have had some failures, that was to find the solution, because his energy didn't drop. In case of Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, I know a little bit more about Charlie Munger, so let me talk about him. He moved from one work to the next into the law school, or climate, some calculation in the military operation, I don't remember exactly. But he says he had lots of models in his mind to deal with the situation, and mainly investment. And he was successful with Warren Buffett because he liked it. He found something which not many people can relate to in his way of thinking. So he found the niche in doing so. So he made money. On top of it, he's as of now 98 years old. So if we can have the good match of your talent to what you like, and the society approves that, and there's a system to go with it, you may be like him. I don't know the chance of success, but that's another story. And if you don't succeed, you at least had the time spent in what you really like to do. And what you really like to do may not be that's just obvious at the beginning. And that's Charlie Munger's case. He had to try this and that. So, how to try out, experiment, and have this sense of WakuWaku aliveness in it, and that has a long-lasting value. That will be one major criteria we can think about. In my case, early on in my life, I was admiring Thomas Alva Edison, and of course perhaps the success and my interest in invention. I have had patents in the company, many patents. This is in Japan, when I was in the nuclear industry, related to even safety of the nuclear power plant. That's another story. But after all, I wasn't quite sure if I want to keep on doing it. I wanted to explore the world. So I keep shifting as much as Charlie Munger did. In my case, from engineering to business, or from Japan to the US, or to overseas. And after try and error, expectation and the result, I found my way, which I like, and also helped the society. So that's the work I did. I wrote books and did the video, traveled around the world, and helped the company. And when I was tired or exhausted, I still could handle it because there's a mission of helping people as much as doing things I can contribute. I think that's the secret of success, to find something we really like and help the society. As I have mentioned the same idea to my son and also post it on the YouTube video. But let's get back to some of the other things I did, which was the Zen, meditation, and all of that. I spent 40-some years, and I even had the awakening moment like Satori or Kensho in Japanese. This is through Vipassana, kind of like Dogen, Japanese Dogen in Sotoshu, Soto sect. So, having gone through that and kept on with my interest for many years, I went through so many documents. I wasn't tired. I'm still doing it at age 74. And as my age, my life started to get shrinking, facing death, I am fine with what I've got out of it. Maybe I could have done more, but there's no end for whatever that expectation, the dream may be. So when I was walking around and reflecting a little bit, and I have been talking about this imprint, what we may learn in your early age and to go over, some of the bad habits to be important. And having gone through 40-some years of Zen, Shin Buddhism, spiritual pursuit, there's something in there, and the word is emptiness, because everything turned into emptiness is the Buddhist view. So if we have that realization, your stance is not so much on greed or desire, but reality. What is the point of this? So what? And empty-mindedness, no mind in Japanese, is about being aware at the moment. Now, I'm going to come back to talk about this living with your dream. It's like a zone experience. If you like dancing or swimming or surfing or diving or working and investing, whatever suits you and like, that's the way you live your life. And that's actually what Honda Soichiro, who is the founder of Honda Motor, who said that. One of the book, I don't have it anymore, but is do with your what you like, you really like to accomplish in your life, because he lived life like that. He's not religious, but he believed in his life, and as much as Edison, he was like an engineer and very passionate one with lots of interesting stories. So after spending 40-some years of Zen meditation, Shin Buddhism, and talking about the no mind or emptiness, I'm kind of synthesizing and summarizing to say that this idea of emptiness, no mind, is important. This is about the spiritual pursuit, but I realized that it doesn't have to be a spiritual pursuit. so far as you have that sense in living life lively and do your best, I think that would be one way, not to be confined in certain area, but the area that you find it very interesting. So there's a sense of intuition you may have, and try to seek for where it comes from and how to accomplish what your dream idea, the skills and all of that. And if you are like that, this is back to Nakayama. One of his books about Dogen, he was talking about what is no mind and what is the zone experience in his word. And the point is that if you are in this state of zone of doing what you really like, then you have a state where you empty your mind. So you achieve without meditation or this and that spiritual. If you listen to your heart and figure out what you really like, that's what you want to do. And if that suits to the society's value of what you can contribute by wisdom, compassion, that will be the way. But let's say if you are Trump or Putin or Hitler, that result may not be as appreciated by the society, although they may be doing their best. Then that's a tricky situation. And whether you realize that or not is a big question. Because if you have this fame or inclination and the people resonate because their life experience may be similar and want something to be done, they may just jump onto it. So that check and balance, the reference, become very important. But even if we think certain things are important, nature's way is such that all these things can happen. It's like a probability. And to control that may be against the way of nature because it just happens. So what does that mean? Well, there may be people who can see the falsehood in such cases like Hitler or Putin, whatever. Doesn't matter. But I think that may be bound to happen in human progression. So going back to what we are talking about it, or I was talking about, which is how we live a life and how to be happy, consider those elements, and having that considered, still try to make the best of doing what you really like to do and help the society. I believe that God would value such effort, or the law of nature would value, so that you don't suffer as much, or instead have joy in what you do and contribute to the society. So imprint I mentioned is there. To overcome certain imprint may not be easy, but with certain level of determination and interest, as much as looking at my case and thinking back my life and thinking of this discussion about liveliness and have something you really get excited at, that is the way. Because when you are in that moment, you can reflect on your life experiences. Then I'm sure you are in the zone, happy in your doing, and then your mind is empty. So you can try the mind emptiness first, experimenting, but also find what resonate, interest you, and do the best if you're really interested in what you do. I think that would be a great contribution for yourself to be sane, balanced, especially when that suits to the society's need. But if not, you are still being alive, doing your best, and find the meaning in what you do. And if that's the nature's way, and that suits you to live your life, that I think may be better than not knowing what to do and be confused. If you really like something and if you're confused, of course that's not what you want. So check and balance, reference, all the things I talked about will be important. But this aliveness, happiness in what we really like to do, it's something we should think about. Thank you.